Well, Bonnie, thank you so much for joining me here on the Entrepreneurial Success Podcast. It's always a thrill in order to meet somebody new and to hear kind of your tips, your feedback, your kind of experience about business, about life, and just sharing that with the audience. And I'm really appreciative of your time for connecting with us. But without further ado, tell us a little bit about you, who you are, and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I am excited to chat with you. So, I am a digital marketing and social media strategist. So, short version of that is I help you figure out what you're posting on your social media and why. The why behind it, I feel like, is so strong, but yet often tiny in the big vision of things. And so, I started this actually kind of as a rabbit hole project of I recently, not recently, but a year and a half ago, started my own, well, longer than that. It's been maybe 2 years now. Started my own business and I was in virtual work. I was a virtual assistant and I loved the social media aspect of things and I wanted to learn more. Before this, however, I was a builder and I actually built furniture, like big tables and home decor and like crafting and all things personalized. Because where we were very secluded and we were about 45 minutes from like the closest town. And so I kind of like started this as an accident of building things. During that time, I realized how hard it was to figure out not only to run a business, but like to market it in a way that like would resonate with my audience, what an audience was, like who my target audience should be and how to figure that out. But also like the little things of like how to message it correctly, how to write it correctly, how to like stop the scroll when people are like on Instagram or whatever platform they're on. Figuring out how to do that became like a huge rabbit hole that I dove down. And I really threw in everything that I could into figuring out digital marketing because as a small business, it was very hard to figure out. And there was a lot of the, corporate mumbo jumbo. And I'm like, I don't know anything like this. And so I dove into it. Well, we moved from California to Texas. I'm a military spouse. And so I also hated quitting my job every couple of years. So the entrepreneurship kind of came into like me just wanting to work for myself, but also kind of fill my cup and give me something to do while like having some shopping money. So we moved to Texas. I actually decided to finish my bachelor's in digital marketing. I got a full ride scholarship when we got here. So I was super lucky with that. But I really saw the need to be able to help small businesses and just businesses in general understand their digital marketing and why it's so important, but like how to connect all the pieces in a way that made sense for their audience. And there's so much that I'm still learning to this day that I don't even know where to start with, that I want to be able to like simplify it and show how easy it is to actually do it without being overwhelmed. Because before we were recording, we were talking about your social media, and instantly, most business owners are like, oh, I'm not even going to touch that. But knowing how to do it in an efficient way and in a way that's going to resonate with your target audience and all the little intricacies of it makes it so much easier.
Yeah. And I love quite a few things that you shared there. I mean, first of all, stepping into entrepreneurship, making that decision is a big one. But I think we all have this kind of notion when we decide to start a business that the creativity just spurs us on. And we're so excited about starting this business and being all creative that we always forget that actually, if you build a business, you've got to do the marketing as well. And
Yes.
unfortunately, for us who are novices, and I say us because I've been there as well, we jump into a business, we start it off, and then we just go, right, nothing is happening. And it's
Mm-hmm.
only because we don't realize that the marketing aspect is just as important. But also, and the other aspect is the digital marketing, which so many people loathe because, like you said, it is overwhelming. But I
Yes.
think in particular, it must be overwhelming because we're not always sure or we don't have the clarity on how to do it. I won't say
Yeah.
right, but more better or aligned with us and our businesses.
Exactly. And I think there's so much advice out there too, and you're not really sure which advice to follow. And like, is this the correct way to do this? And someone could say, this is how you do this. It's not always just like that's not just the only way to do it, but it's a way that worked for them. Like I love sharing how I've done things. And I'm not saying that's the way you have to do it, but I'm just saying this is the way that's worked for me. Here, you can try it and see how it works for you. But I think that's a scary part too of digital marketing, of there's so much out there that
Yeah.
like, where do you look for correct information?
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is also the other thing that a lot of people are getting stuck with is they see other people that are successful and digital marketing is working for them. And then they go and try and copy and paste their techniques, their strategy, whatever it is they're doing. And then if it doesn't work for them, they go like, oh, well, it's not working for me. They give up and they go and find the next shiny object, as we call it.
Yes,
And then
yes.
they try that.
Yep. Shiny object
And
syndrome.
I know. We've all been there. I mean, me
Yes.
included. I've done it, ticked all the boxes, but I learned from every single one of them.
Yes, and that's, I think you made a great point of like your strategy is particular to you. It's about your business goals and how you want to achieve those goals through your social media.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I see businesses looking at social media as like that's their business, but that's just a tool for your business. Just like the grocery store down the road has a cash register for their business, social media platforms are a tool for your business. And thinking of it that way kind of makes it a little bit easier to handle, I think. So like
Yeah.
a strategy is so important. And if you don't have a strategy, you're just posting pretty noise on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. And in particular, I've had so many clients who come to me as like, well, I love social media. I haven't had one single client through social media. But then I say to them, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but at the end of the day, it's not always just about getting clients. It's also just about building that visibility.
Mm-hmm.
And your clients or your potential clients or your audience will see you constantly showing up through that consistency. And then if you have other pathways through your digital marketing setup, they could even find you like through your email list or through networking or whatever else it is that you're doing. So as long as you're staying consistent and visible, your people will find you no matter what that avenue looks like.
Yeah, I think it's important too that people also have a target audience and their target, like a
Yeah.
customer avatar, their best customer avatar. That's a huge thing that we see missing on across all digital marketing anywhere, of like if you don't have a clear idea of who your target customer is, then once again you're just wasting your time, because it's important to know who that target customer is and know where they're showing up on social media, what
Yes.
platform, how they consume the content, and then editing it or personalizing it in a way that makes sense for them. So not only knowing the customer avatar, but also knowing their journey. So like
Yeah.
your social media is kind of like top of funnel stuff of it's gonna, they're gonna see you, they're gonna download your freebie, they're gonna get in your email list, and through your email list, you're sending, we call them microtransactions of increasing value of, these are great resources that we've used. These are the tips that we have. Showing that you're knowledgeable and what the problem that they have is, will eventually lead them down to the end of the funnel. And it's not so much conversion, it's more of just at that point, you've warmed them up to where
Yeah.
what you're going to provide is just the next logical step in their journey along the way. So it's important to know all those three pieces
Yeah.
when you're making your marketing. Because like I said, if you're not, it's just pretty noise.
Exactly. And I think that's where a lot of people don't have the clarity. It's just about, let me just show up. Oh my goodness, I haven't posted for 2 weeks. Let me quickly post something for the sake of posting. And that's doing it completely the wrong way, which brings me to the
Yes.
next topic that you and I would love to talk about. And that's about batching content. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about your experience with batching content and if there's any tips that you can provide the audience as well.
Absolutely. So batching your content is just doing chunks of what you normally do to like post throughout your week and not doing it all in one day. For example, I love to have my hair done and my makeup done and have a cute outfit on when I record any, excuse me, any videos. And so when you're recording these videos, if you know I'm going to record these these 10 videos this week and I have it planned out, you take one day and you just record. Because if you think about it, it takes me about an hour and a half to get ready for the day. And if I just record one video and then I sit down and I do my keyword research and I write my caption and then I edit the video and then I post it, that's like 3 hours of my day for one video. But if you just do it in chunks, like on Mondays, I'm going to do keyword research and just brainstorm what I'm going to do for the following week. On Tuesday, you do something else. And it makes it to where you're actually gaining time in your business.
Yeah.
You're going to have more time to be able to focus on things that you're good at. Also, if you loathe social media, do it first thing in the morning and just get it done. It's the whole eat the biggest frog first thing of like,
Yeah.
if you don't want to do it, just do that first. And then you'll feel accomplished because you're like, oh, got that big task done. But it also helps you have consistent messaging because it's going to be all cohesive when you're making all these different chunks of your social media.
Yeah. And I love that idea because I think, one of the things that you said there is you plan your content, do hair and makeup, and in one day you just do all your videos. And as soon as you say that, I'm sure some people in the audience goes, oh, I don't like videos. I don't like showing up on the front of the camera. And again, all those obstacles start coming in their way. But I think the essential part here that you said is just do it.
Yes.
Do your hair, do your makeup, tick that box, step one done. Set up the camera, sit in front of it, just record, just go with the flow, know what your topic is you're going to talk about, and just do the first one and just see how it goes. And then don't try and fix that first one, just go into the second one. Just go into the third one, 4, 5, how many videos you wanted to do that day. But I think if you don't try and be perfect with everything, try and re-record everything. If you feel like you've made a mistake, just keep going all the way to the end.
Yeah. And it's never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Authentic content is so much more easy for people to resonate with and to feel personal with than like polished content. I'll tell you, I don't know how many videos that I have out there that I have like chipped nail polish, I have like mascara on the side of my face, or just something weird that I at first would be like, oh my gosh, I have to re-record that. Now I'm just like, it's out there. It's me. There's like a video of my dog running in front of the camera the one time. I'm like, this is going up. It's not polished and it's me. And so they just want to see you because you are going to resonate more than the polished version that you're trying to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is the beauty because as soon as you say that, the pressure almost instantly lifts off people's shoulders going, oh, it doesn't have to be perfect. I can just go with the flow.
Yeah.
But equally, I think the other thing there is you do need to do a little bit of planning in advance to do this. It's not just about getting the makeup, hair done, and sit in front of the camera and go, right, what am I going to talk about? You need to at least have a couple of things at least that you are going to talk about. Do you have any tips for people about how to maybe formulate their content, put something together so they can just go with it?
Absolutely. So it's all about, like I said, knowing your target audience and their journey that they're on.
Yeah.
And throughout their journey, you're thinking about their pain points. Where are they at along that journey? What are the questions that they're asking themselves? And how can you address those questions? We always talk about inside out marketing. A lot of companies say, well, we can do this and we're good at this. And that's cool. But like, I want to know what size fridge that you have. Is it going to fit in my space? Does it have a milk shelf? Is there an egg shelf? The little things that you think about as a customer, that's what you should be answering in your social media. And it can be in carousels, which are like, the couple different images. It could be in reels, which are videos. I love stories. I feel like stories are really great on Instagram because they're authentic and they're like in the moment. And, I posted one yesterday. I said, is it too early for me to want a pumpkin spice latte? Everyone said yes. So I guess I'm not getting one of those anytime soon. But it's about just answering the questions that your audience has in that moment, that either the top of the funnel or the mid funnel, like those little things, but also I heard this a while ago and I love this, but don't consume more than you create.
Yes.
We often will sit and scroll and scroll and we're like, oh, that's really neat. That's really neat. But then you like start comparing yourself and you can't do that. Um, so yes, scroll for inspiration. If you see something and you're like, oh, I really like how they did that, save it. I have a notes app on my phone that when I think of stuff, I'm like, oh, I should talk about that. I type it in my note really quick. Or if there's like an audio that I really like, I always like, well, say, oh, this audio, and then I'll like put the thing next to it because I can't always make it right away, but I have
Yeah.
this notes. So when I'm ready, I have all these notes that all I have to do is like go through those and make them really quick, and I'm good to go for I only do like 2 weeks at a time at the most because any more than that gets overwhelming.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I love that idea because sometimes what I do is I take my dog for a walk every single day. And it's normally in those kind of moments where you just go, and a deep breath, going into nature, and all of a sudden you just get these downloads, these ideas coming to you. And I'm so scared
Yeah.
that I always will forget them. So I just quickly do a voice recording for myself. It's like, okay,
Yes.
ideas. Da, 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 da. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's recorded. Now I can continue the rest of the walk. So I find those kind of moments, just having your phone with you and just capturing those ideas right there and then, you can now relax, enjoy the rest of the day, enjoy the rest of what you have, and then come back to
Yes,
those when you're sitting down and
absolutely.
planning your content.
And I always tell people to write like you talk in your
Yeah.
captions.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And don't use these extraneous words that you probably don't use in your daily, conversations. I have had so many people tell me, I love how you write because you write like you talk. It's like you're having a conversation with you, and that's how you want it to feel. You want it to feel personal.
Yeah.
So don't get super polished. Just write like you would talk to your neighbor if you
Yeah.
like.
Well, yeah, of course.
If you like.
and and saying that, I mean, the writing part, I also find that a lot of people say to me, oh gosh, I create all my content on ChatGPT. And I love ChatGPT for numerous reasons. But how do you feel about people using ChatGPT or any other AI in order to create content for social media for their digital marketing?
I mean, I love it. We use ChatGPT all the time. I've actually created custom GPTs that write like I do. So we have built in my voice, the way that I structure, um, like a real caption. We have it how I would structure it. A caption for a carousel. We have it how I would structure it. It uses my voice, but you still have to edit it. You still
Yeah.
have to go in and read it. It's great for time saving things. So you're not having to like reinvent the wheel.
Mm.
And it, it is great. I absolutely love AI and I will continue to like learn and grow with it, but you still have to edit it because
Yes.
I could scroll through and tell you exactly who just used ChatGPT to copy and paste and who actually wrote what they have in the captions. So I mean, yes, continue to use it, but use it in a way that makes it personal.
Yeah. Something else that I want to ask you, which is one of the big things that really stood out for me when you and I said we want to do this recording, is you said that you use UTM codes for your digital marketing. Now, first of
Yeah.
all, tell us what UTM codes are, and then
Yes.
tell us what is it and how do we use it in digital marketing?
Yes. So UTM codes are super important for marketers. They're a specific way to track what your marketing is doing and where it's coming from. They use a Google campaign builder to like build these codes. And I always want to preface this with saying you're not coding anything. Instantly, when people hear coding or the word code, they're like, oh, I'm not touching that. But all you're doing is adding extra text to an existing URL that you own for your website. So we use UTM codes on all of our digital marketing because we can see where our traffic is coming from because your ultimate goal is to drive traffic to your website. It can tell us, okay, on this specific campaign, it did better on Facebook and on Instagram. On this campaign, it did better on LinkedIn and Pinterest. Or we're getting all of our traffic from Pinterest. We're not going to do anything else. So it tells you essentially where you're doing good and where it's not doing good and where you can kind of focus your time. We realized early on that Instagram for our, one specific target audience that we were kind of trying to like grow with was not doing well. It just was not growing the traffic. But you know where it was? Pinterest. Pinterest was like driving 10 times the amount of traffic as Instagram was. And so guess what we did? We pivoted and we spent a lot more time on our Pinterest because you want to water the flowers and prune the weeds, get rid of the stuff that's not working, and then focus on the stuff that's doing good. And UTM codes can help you see that. It analyzes it all through Google Analytics, which by the way is all free. So, free is better for any small business. So you can specify specific things to see where stuff came from, what campaign it is, and all those other little details that, go with marketing.
Yeah. And I love that because I think it comes back to what we said in the beginning, where people just completely feel overwhelmed with all of the digital marketing. They go for the next shiny object. They try everything because it seems to work for that person, so it must be working for them. But I think as soon as people start utilizing their Google Analytics and implementing UTM codes with all kinds of digital marketing that they're doing, they will see where it is working for them. And then with that clarity, it will give you a better idea of where to spend more of your time on social media, so to speak, or on your digital marketing.
Absolutely, especially when you start hiring and you start growing your agency. And it's important to see like where you're spending your money and your budget. And so if you're spending all this money on creating content for a specific platform, but it's just kind of flatlining, if you're not really using UTM codes or any tracking, and if you're not looking at analytics at all, then like it's kind of a waste of money, especially if it's not converting. And so it's important to analyze and track your marketing on top of it all.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I mean, sadly, actually, I've had so many clients that come to me. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing Facebook ads, I'm doing Pinterest ads, Google ads, and all of these things. But they've got no idea about their traffic, about what is actually working for them. So they're just spending endless money on ads. And then I normally say to them, hold on a little bit. Let's not do ads just yet. Let's see where some of that audience is really hanging out. Tell me a little bit from your experience working with your own clients. As soon as they start getting that clarity, what is kind of like the big aha moment for them?
I think it's that I'm right. No, I'm just kidding. It's that like when you're looking at your social media and the channels that you want to be on, and we say, okay, your target audience isn't on Instagram, it's over here, but we'll continue to do the stuff that you would like to do, and then we analyze it, and then we come back and we see that okay, we're just wasting time over here. We've had zero revenue from this platform, but this platform is where it's driving it all. So then we flip and we put more time into the platform that's actually working, and to see the results on that are just amazing. So knowing the analytics and why behind it all and making sure it is aligned with their business goals. And once it does, then it's just like game changer. Because at that point, it's just continuing to do the same thing that you're doing that's actually working, and not getting the corporate boardroom boredom. Just because you're bored of something doesn't necessarily mean your audience is. So if you have a campaign that's working well, just keep doing it. You don't have to change it. You might be bored with it, but obviously your what's the word I'm looking for? Obviously your consumer base and your clients are not bored of it, so don't change it. So that I think is a big thing that we see a lot of.
Yeah, yeah. And it all comes back to clarity.
Yes.
So tell me this then. In order for people to kind of now think about using UTM codes, their Google Analytics, go into it, do you think that this is something they can do themselves by setting up themselves, utilizing Google Analytics? Or do you think it's best that they use somebody as an expert like yourself in order to do the work for them?
I say if you have the money to hire out, then absolutely do it. Don't waste your time trying to learn something new when it's not your zone of genius. But if you are a small business, and we usually have small business budgets, you can absolutely learn these. UTM codes are very easy to use. I have a few tips that I love to share of like, make sure you're tracking them correctly. You're using them across the board, and you're using short, easy naming conventions that you can easily read across the URLs. They can absolutely be done by a beginner. It's how I learned them. I was like, what is this? What is the UTM code?
Yeah.
Rabbit hole. And now I've become like the subject matter expert in our like realm of UTM codes because I just, nerded out and loved them, but I didn't know anything about them. I watched a couple of YouTube videos, and Google makes it pretty easy to just connect, Google Analytics to your website, and then you'll be able to start seeing results.
Yeah. And I like that because I think for a lot of people, tech completely freaks them out and they go,
Yes.
heck knows, I'm not going to go down this road. But it's interesting to know that there are people who would look into this, like yourselves, especially for digital marketing. And then for those people who do feel like, oh, I don't mind techie stuff, feel like a little bit of a nerd, I want to go and do this research like me. I'm very intrigued. I'm definitely going to go and have a look at it. But I think at the end of the day, it's just about understanding that this is another tool in order to give you that clarity so you can then make the right decision of where you're going to spend most of your time and focus on.
Yeah, exactly. And you talked a little bit about ads. And I think it's important too that you have what is the word I'm looking for? You have the clarity of where your traffic is coming from, and you have organic traffic and you have an organic engagement before you start investing into ads. You can't just throw yourself into ads without knowing what's working or where it's coming from.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one of the first things I always say to people is don't just go and do ads like crazy. You're going to spend a fortune, you're going to lose a fortune. Go and get that organic traffic flowing first, and then you'll have clarity about where your ideal clients are hanging out if you haven't done the research beforehand. But then also, if you have a specific campaign, utilize your Facebook ads, whatever ads, Pinterest ads, Google ads, utilize it around that instead of just trying to get traffic for no reason.
Throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Oh gosh, mistake. I've made that mistake myself, which is why I'm heavily saying, we've got to do it the right order.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, Bonnie, I love having this conversation, but also these golden nuggets that you're sharing with us today. Because like I said, I think it's a little bit different from when I normally do these interviews and people are just focusing on one specific social media platform or one digital marketing strategy, where you just covered a little bit about it all, but in particular, the UTMs, which I think is definitely going to stand out for a lot of people. Now, before we go, you have an amazing freebie specifically in order to help us to create content more, batching the content. Tell us a little bit about the freebie and all the benefits that people can get from it.
Absolutely. I love this freebie. So what it is a batching your content action guide, and it's going to walk you through the different steps of getting clarity on how to batch your content. So it talks about what content you're going to create and when you're going to create it. It talks about the times that you want to post. A big myth in social media is you have to post at a specific time. No, you just have to post when your audience is hanging out or when you have the time. It's simple as that. And then it breaks it down even more of like what kind of content you can create. Is it just audio? Is it video? Is it images, just cute pictures, like whatever it is, but knowing that and having that planned is so important. And then we talk about the analytics because that's my favorite part of if you're going to create it, you've got to measure it because then how do you know if it's working if you don't measure it?
Yes, exactly. Otherwise, again, spaghetti at the wall and hoping something's going to stick. No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for making that available to the audience. So for those of you listening or watching this video, the link will be in the show notes to go and download this freebie in order to learn how to batch your content. But also, even if it just gives you that bit more of clarity on how to get your content out there, how to track it, how to look at the analytics, I think it is a huge, huge kind of step forward. So you just feel like, hey, I don't have to do it all. I can just find what works for me and stick with it. But also, if you want to learn more and if you want to connect with Bonnie, that also Bonnie, I would do that. Also, if you want to learn more and if you want to connect with Bonnie, by all means, go and check out her website and also follow her on social media. All the details are available in my show notes. But more importantly, Bonnie, thank you so much for taking the time for being here with us. And if I can ask you, do you have one last little tip that you want to share with the audience just to kind of help them, spur them on maybe even?
Yes, don't try to boil the ocean when it comes to your social media. Focus on one platform where your audience is and grow there. Then you can add others, but don't try to be on every single social media platform because it's just not going to work.
I know. I love that. And I always say, don't lose focus, just stay on one lane for now.
Yes, yes, exactly.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. I wish you all of the best for all your endeavors. And yeah, for those of you listening or watching this video, by all means, click the link now in the show notes, go and download that freebie, but also go and connect with Bonnie so you can learn more from her. And if you have any questions, just get in touch with Bonnie and I'm sure she'd be more than happy to help you out with it. Again, thank you so much, Bonnie. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.